And a very good evening to all. We are back again in Pixelplay Ventures weekly Clubhouse session. Just to recap, PPV and Magic is now running Global Marketfit Program USA, where 10 eligible Malaysian startups were selected to participate in a 9-week accelerator program focusing in expanding businesses in the United States, where each week we will feature two startups from GMP USA Cohort 1 in our Clubhouse session, basically to share their entrepreneurship journey with us. Again, evening. My name is Shahrul. Welcome again for those who have just joined us in Clubhouse. I can see a couple of friendly names here. Izwan, Shiong, Eri, Benny, Azam, who has been there is about for more than 15 minutes ago. Sunil, Farah. Hi, Farah. Thank you for joining in, and the rest of the audience in Clubhouse. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And for your information, this Clubhouse session is also streamed live in PPV's YouTube page. Therefore, for those who are not familiar with Clubhouse or by any means unable to join chatting with us tonight, you can view the live stream in PPV's YouTube channel. By the way, PPV is a short form I always use for Pixelplay Ventures. And don't forget to subscribe our channel and like our videos for support, yeah? Thank you. Much appreciated. And while waiting for our Clubhouse room to be populated, a little background about who we are. Pixelplay Ventures, in short, PPV. We are a venture capital management corporation, or known as a VC, registered with Securities Commission of Malaysia. PPV focuses on investing in rapidly growing mid to late stage companies that fits PPV's ethical venture build philosophy, which is designed for the ethical conscious investors and founders. Quite a mouthful. Together with our partner from the USA, which is the US Market Access Center, they are from the Silicon Valley. We are now running a 9-week accelerator program for 10 Malaysia companies to have access to specifically in the United States and also global markets. In short, the accelerator program is to prepare them to basically to beef them up to be, in the Silicon Valley way. All right. Okay, let's go. And thank you to those friends and audience who are in us in Clubhouse tonight. Hello to those also watching this live stream via YouTube. Some house rules to those in Clubhouse. Hope you enjoy listening to the session tonight. And feel free to participate by pressing the palm icon at the bottom of your Clubhouse screen. Our moderator will promote you to speak and interact with our panelists. Whatever it may be, questions or sharing of your personal thoughts, very much welcome. And those who are watching via Pixelplay Ventures YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe again and like our videos. Thank you for the support. You may also key in your comments or questions in the comment section. Our moderator will pick it up and convey to our fellow panelists. And tonight, we are continuing with chapter 3 of our Entrepreneurship Founder Story series. Together with us, we have Nick Muhammad Amin from Moovby, as well as Jerry Hung from KOL, Modern KOL. Not forgetting my partners, basically my partner for tonight. Unfortunately, Abang Amir couldn't join, and Braun as well. We have Ahmad Razali. He's here tonight. Hi, Zali. And
Hi.
good evening, Nick, Jerry, Zali.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice pleasure to be here.
Thank you
Hello,
so much.
everyone.
Well, a quick introduction of our founders before we let them share their interesting journey together with us. I'll first start off with Nick. Nick is the founder of Moovby, Moovby, which is a peer-to-peer car sharing app in Southeast Asia. Most people define them as Airbnb for cars. To date, Moovby is available in Malaysia and Indonesia. Nick was also the pioneer engineering team of Grab, which was then My Taxi, I reckon. He was a senior software consultant for Tamago and Dah Makan. He was also the software engineer for GoGet and Grab. Nick was featured in a couple of platforms, including The Sun Daily, Vocat, NST Online, Tech in Asia, and News Straits Times Online. He graduated in electronic engineering from Multimedia University Malaysia. Our next panelist and our next speaker will be Mr. Jerry Hung. Jerry, a founder and CEO of Modern KOL. Their forte is to train amateur key opinion leaders, in short KOL, and equip them with personal branding, copywriting, design, video shooting, as well as editing. Not forgetting live streaming skill set. Well, Jari, I don't think the general public is familiar with the word KOL, which is it stands for key opinion leaders. In my own bahasa Melayu interpretation, KOL is indeed influencer.
Yeah.
English, I don't know what would be the word in English. In BM, we call them influencer. And some trivia, yeah, for modern KOL. For the past 2 years, modern KOL have trained more than 2,500 amateur KOLs ages from as young as 8 years of age to 80 years old. Jerry was also listed as 100 most influential young entrepreneurs 2019. He also co-founded two health tech startups, namely GetDoc and Health Metrics, both now valued at about more than RM 50 million. GetDoc then was acquired by Singapore Holding in 2018, while Health Metrics joined Google Launchpad program in 2017, if I'm not wrong. Jerry previously was a medical rep in Parvers Sdn Bhd, Penang. He also owns a couple of F&B outlets such as Meibo Kopitiam and Matches Cafe and Restaurant. Jerry studied in College Tunku Abdul Rahman. Jerry, Nick, I hope I have done justice to your brief introduction. Apology if I miss out anything, but I'll let you
Sure.
guys tell your own story later, yeah? Without further ado, let's start the evening with Nick first. Nick, bro, can you share with us more on your startup journey? We know you were a system engineer before, so a very technical guy in your previous employment as well.
Yeah.
How it all started, and I'm sure it was such an intriguing story to learn about a system engineer who started with My Taxi or Grab, turned to be a startup founder for a car sharing platform. Do enlighten us, Nick.
All right. Thank you, Sharul. Hi, everyone. I'm delighted to be here tonight to share a little journey of myself and Moovby and how it is started and founded. So my name is Nick. I'm the founders and CEO of Moovby. So Moovby is the peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace or the Airbnb for cars. So um, the way it started, I think back in 2016, when one of my junior came to me, they asked me like, "Hey Nick, can I just rent your car for 5 hours to go to went for a ceremony in the university?" I said, "Yes, I trust you. I know you. You take my car and then give me some money, right?" So from that aha moment, I realized that it is not actually my car alone was sitting idle, but there are more than a few hundred cars combined. And I think if you can expand a bit more, there are more than 1,000 cars sitting idle at the time. So from that oh shit moment, I realized that there's a big opportunity for us to reinvent the wheels behind the car rental company, right? So I went back to my room and then did some research. There's no one yet doing the peer-to-peer car rental or car sharing per se. And I realized that there's a big company in the US called Turo and Get Around who are doing very successful in both US and the Europe. So I think this is a very great opportunity for me to explore like to convert the idle car who mainly for us like one of the terrible asset to own in many ways. So putting that terrible asset into a better use, which is something that inspired me to explore more. So that's a little journey lah, Sharul, like how I founded Moovby back then.
And you decided to leave your previous employment and run your own startup.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite sudden then when I decided to left my 9 to 5 job. With a good pay. I decided to jump the cliff and start to build my startup. Luckily, I don't crash. I'm still alive right now. So,
Mhm.
as a bumpy road prior to that, but I think I can share later on. Uh, yeah.
But it's interesting to learn, Nick. When you first started, you said that your friend wanted to borrow your car for about 5 hours. and you say, hey, why not? It's either anyhow you can take it, and he's willing to pay. And I believe you have done the maths. So how much was it? Berapa dia bayar 5 jam tu?
But then it's like a trial, like a trial period. I just charged him around 50 ringgit at the time.
Per
Uh,
hour?
no, like for 5 hour.
For 5 hour, 50 ringgit. Oh, that's
Yeah.
dirt cheap.
Yes. They just want to test the market, and he's willing to pay. I think, yeah, this is it's good. It's good. Testing period for us.
So that again, as I mentioned earlier, you by chance had the opportunity trying to make money out of your own asset, and you did the maths. If one person requires a car and borrowed from you, not actually borrowed, rented from you,
Yeah.
might as well replicate it and get people to make revenue out of their own asset.
Yeah, I think surprisingly, I think that idea evolved until right now. We can see that the average hosts who are putting their car on our platform, they are earning somewhere around 3,500 to 4,000 for Myvi, or like a sedan car like Beza or maybe Vios. I think this is a good earning for them. They can basically offset the cost of their car payments, perhaps like insurance costs and maintenance as well. Yeah.
But for you, it was the transition from being an employee towards becoming an entrepreneur yourself, a founder yourself. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm very sure it was quite seamless because you were with My Taxi. You were the pioneer of the engineering team of My Taxi back then, which is Grab today. So you were already part of the startup ecosystem. You were privy of how a startup runs, the ups and downs, raising funds, the beta version, having an MVP, having the challenges of getting subscribers. Who were those? How you mitigated the risk of leaving your employment and starting a business on your own?
Yeah, it's a good question, Shahrukh. I think actually, to be frank, I was not really prepared, like to start my own company. But this idea, like, keep bugging my head. Like I can't stop thinking about this idea, and like one fine day I decided to quit, and then jump into my building my company altogether. I think it was a really um, hard actually. The transitioning period between like kerja makan gaji and then running a company is totally
Yeah.
different. It's totally different mindset and risk calculation and whatnot.
Yeah, but what
But
what if you can share with us, what made you made the leap of faith?
yeah, one is for sure. I think there's a huge potential, huge opportunity for the car rental business in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. Um, it is amount to 23 billion in Asia, and more than 500 million US dollar in Malaysia market alone. So like if I think if I don't do it now, then maybe someone else will come and do it. So perhaps like I just like would like to be the first, and would like to try to solve this very challenging problem. I know that studying a new things is is going to be very hard, and actually it is even more harder than what you think. Um, so I decided to go make a decision, and then enjoy the journey.
So you actually calculated the risk, mitigated all the options that we have,
Betul.
took that leap of faith, and just move on, take up the challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing, brief info of your past. We'll go more on further detail later. In the meantime, I'm seeing the Clubhouse room is getting more populated. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Those in Clubhouse, I hope you enjoy listening to the session tonight. We have both Nick from Moovby as well as Jerry from Modern KOL. They will share with us their startup journey, the ups and downs, their interesting story, what they've experience so far for many number of years. And feel free to participate by pressing the palm icon at the bottom of your Clubhouse screen. Our moderator will promote you to speak and interact with our panelists. Yeah. And it can be your questions, sharing your personal thoughts, or giving remarks. It's very much welcome. And those who are watching via Pixelplay Ventures YouTube channel, by the way, the Clubhouse is currently streamed live in our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. Thank you for the support. You may also key in comments and questions in the comment section. Our moderator will pick it up and convey to our fellow panelists. I'll move on to Jerry. Nick letak tepi sekejap. Jerry, can you share with us what does medical representative do when you were with Pavas Sendirian Berhad? Because that was the position they were holding, medical rep. I personally don't know what it means. Were you always in the medical line? And looks like entrepreneurship is organically embedded in your DNA. Share with us your story.
Okay. All right. So I think first of all, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. Right. So I think first of all, really wanted to take this opportunity also to thanks Magic, right? Pixelplay, and never forget, supported by Market, right? Because just now I went to the YouTube, I saw, the logo supported by Market, so I have to mention them, a little bit as well. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us. So in this Clubhouse. So if let's say you guys can, as Sharo has been mentioned, please bring more friends, telling more people to join us, because Sharo mentioned that, if let's say we have more than 50 packs in Clubhouse, right, then you will belanja us makan already.
Oh, later. Did I say that?
Now. All right, so back to Sharo questions. I'm really surprised, where did he actually get all the info, you see. Then I realized, I think he actually get it from LinkedIn, if not mistaken. Okay, medical rep. I think that happened easily like more than 10 years back. In fact, before medical rep, right, I was actually in F&B industry. Okay, so I studied in business admin, from business admin to F&B to medical to health tech, and now we are talking about influencer, right? So what the heck am I doing right here? Um, okay, so I think it's a long story. That's why just now, before it started, I always told Shah, if let's say I talk too much, right, make sure that he stop me as well. Talking about medical rep, I think that happened, when my first venture, no, when my second venture in Malaysia was actually closed down because of an economic crisis. Then at that time being, right, the business that we are doing, it's actually a traditional kopitiam. I think Cheryl mentioned just now, is actually called Maple, right? It is a kopitiam, traditional Chinese kopitiam in Lokut, Port. So that time I still remember was during 2008, economic crisis. So all the monies that we are making, from the business, it's only enough for us to sustain, sorry, not to say sustain, it's actually to pay our food, our rental, and my staff salary, and we don't have any extra pocket money. So I actually told my wife in a sense that, what the heck, we are doing right here, we are kind of like working for free. Then in that case, right, why don't we actually go back to Penang? My hometown is actually from Penang, rather than we actually work for other people. Then when I went back to Penang, then I actually sent out a lot of resume. And yeah, I'm not sure whether it's lucky or unlucky for the companies, right? So these are particular medical companies actually, agree to see me, interview me, and I'm actually hired, right? So that company itself, right, is very interesting because the products that we are supplying, right, is actually a lot of lady or women actually like that a lot, because those are the products that we supply to plastic surgeons, aesthetic doctors. We are talking about Botox. You are talking about fillers, injectables, whitening kind of things. Yep. So hence start my medical journey as per se. So this is actually to answer Cheryl your questions.
Thank you. So medical rep, then actually you started with F&B. Then out of desperation, your CVs were flying all over, and you managed to land a job at Purpose Berhad to be a medical rep. Then what changed? Why do you, and how it eventually end up being a, your forte, championing influencers or key opinion leaders, KOL?
Okay. Oh, okay. Actually, in fact, in between, right? So after I actually left Harvard, right? I actually started two health tech companies, startups. So one is actually called GetDoc. The other one is actually called Health Metrics, right? So the whole story about why I started GetDoc is actually from my father incidents, my very own personal stories. So that's because of my dad is actually passed away because of colon cancer, right?
Mm.
So at that so that time was actually during so he actually passed away during 2013, right? So this is where I started to realize I get to know a lot of doctors, because of I'm in medical industry, right? So of course, being a cancer patient, our family members, we always have I always have the experience, to actually bring him to the right doctors, good doctors. We have to ask around. We need to actually go to a lot of places, different clinics, different hospitals, just to get to the right doctors. And of course, not to mention, the time needed to wait for the doctors, right? So the reason started Get Doc, basically is actually wanted to really deliver a better healthcare experience, right? To really allow people can actually make appointment, book the doctors, reduce the waiting time. And in fact, is the very first startups that way before all the payment gateway, right? We actually empower the patient to also pay their medical bill for their medical visit, right? So I started GetDoc and Health Metrics. Then I started Moden because I actually sold GetDoc during 2018, right? So during my short exit break, I read a lot about the rise of KOL commerce in China. Okay, so I think back then, I mean during nowadays as well, the whole KOL phenomenon is actually started from China, and I'm going to explain to you what's these are all KOL about as well, right? So at the same time, I realized a lot of like um online seller, or brand owner is actually struggling, to actually promote their products online, right? At the same time, a lot of youngsters, right, they actually wanted to become influencer or even KOL, but in Malaysia itself, right, there's actually no proper educations or platform or even the right mindset and attitude, right? Telling them, okay, this is what you should do. This is the skill sets that you need to actually equip yourself with. This is the attitude you need to have. Influencer KOL is not a platform for you to actually make quick money. If let's say you hope that, you wanted to actually become rich or famous overnight, right? Forget about it. So this kind of like correct mindset and attitude, right? We actually didn't see, back then in 2018 or so 2019. So together with my co-founder Chris and another two, which is JC, also Jay, then we say, why don't we start a Moden? So we train them proper skill set. We tell them, uh, this is the right thing to do, right? We create a platform. We connect them to the brand, right? So they can actually have extra working opportunity. They can make extra money, by doing the things that they love, right? So to put an end to these questions, I afraid I talk too much, right? So I think I wanted to actually share, when we talk about KOL, right, we don't actually call them influencer in the sense that because when I talk about influencer, we always resonate to those people that is actually young, beauty, sexy, or handsome,
Okay, let me interject you there,
Yeah,
Jerry.
yeah,
From your definition, looks like there's a difference between key opinion leaders, KOL, and influencer.
yes.
Or other than, because when I started off, in my definition, it's the same thing. In Bahasa Melayu, we call it influencer.
It's different, yeah. So it's different. So for us, I think KOL is actually different as compared to influencer. Or rather we call them, knowledgeable influencer or knowledgeable thought leader, right? So they're actually a subject matter, experts. So for example, right, because if let's say we talk about influencer, the very first thing that people will resonate, right, is actually, as I mentioned, you need to be young, sexy, for guy, you need to be handsome, right? Uncle like me, I'm actually definitely older than Nick, right? Nick can become, a very famous, influencer, right? Good looking guy, but uncle like me cannot really, right? But we can always be a KOL, right? So being a KOL, actually there's two things very, very important. One of all is actually the knowledge and experience that we can actually use to empower and add value to our target audience, right? First of all, the knowledge and experience. And secondly, is the skill set, right? The skill set, from copywriting, design, video shooting, editing, even to live streaming, right? Skill sets that for you to express yourself, right? It's not about good looking, taking good photography. No, it's never about that, right? So it's all about knowledge, experience, and so your skill set, because this is how you can actually add value to others, and this is how you can actually help the brands or the online seller to amplify their sales as well.
Interesting. So influencers are merely just beautiful face on screen to get traction, to get likes, to get followers. But key opinion leaders can be uncles, aunties, not so sexy. I mean, you started off very sexy, lah, bro. It's like, influencers may not be sexy as well, right?
We rather call them KOL, because as I said, people perception when you talk about influencer, it always goes to young and sexy, right? That's why when train, you see, if let's say today, let's say 40 years old, uncle like me, or 40 years old auntie like, whosoever say that, today I wanted to go out to become influencer, people will laugh at that. Hey, you're so old already, sure or not, you can become an influencer, right? But when you tell people, today I want to become a KOL, I want to share my experience, I want to add value to others, right? Then people won't laugh at you.
I really wish Abang Amir is here tonight. Unfortunately, he's unable to join us. We had a very good, interesting session last week with Jasrina and Shiong. And Jasrina, brought up this youngster and elderly matter. And those in YouTube will be able to see Abang Amir with all his white hair. And we had Team Abang Amir, Team Amir, and Team Jasrina. Jasrina is in Clubhouse as well. Hi, Jess. You can speak later if you want to. I'm just reminiscing our chat last week. I will leave up on that matter, the definition apa semua tu sekejap lagi. I'm very sure for both of you, Jerry, Nick, it has not always been shiny and full of rainbow along your journey. Do you mind to share with us your fallouts and the challenges that you face and how you manage to overcome and move forward? People always like to listen to nice stories, and people do not prefer to tell their fallouts, the challenges, and their failures. But I think, to me personally, you can learn a lot by listening to other people's failures, so that they won't do the same, they won't go down the drain the same thing as what happened last time. Learn from history, uh, by not sharing too much. Up to you. Let us know, Nick. Your fallouts. I'm very sure it was not green all day since your last employment. You started off Moovby, your own team. You went to Stanford, came back, revisited your terms with your angels. Share with us.
Yeah, thanks, Sharo. I think like other founder as well, like the road for them, I can show that there are a lot of bump. It's a bumpy journey, right? For many of us. For myself, like I mentioned earlier, I jumped into startup with zero knowledge about
Recording
the
stopped.
entrepreneurship. My mindset back then was really about like uh, uh, 9 to 5, and then looking for the better opportunity to basically prosper my career. But when I founded this idea, it, I just like without much preparations on the entrepreneurship, what does it take, what are the challenges that um, the founders are facing. I just jump and then building the plane, and hopefully it can fly. Alhamdulillah, now Moovby is flying and showing a good progress, especially after the market started to open again. So to answer your question, Sharo, like myself, when I started, that prior to Moovby name, the idea for uh, my startup is Wheels By. Uh, I mean,
Wheels by.
Wheels By, yeah, it's like a wheels nearby. It sounds
Wheels
like
by.
it sounds like anything related to the car or bike, But we eventually changed the name to Moovby for some reason. But prior to
What's the
that,
definition of Moovby? Why Moovby? What does it mean?
Moovby is a move nearby. It is very much related to the transportations and mobility as well, but it can be beyond than transportation, like on the road. Like it can be yachts, it can be maybe soon drones, maybe soon like a small helicopter and whatnot. So that's the idea lah. I can share later on after this, but
Boleh, boleh.
prior to that, like I heading my head to the walls and kind of like bleeding badly. Ini macam yuran kebodohan lah, I think, for most of the founders. Um, I started alone, founding Wheels By, but I found that this is very hard to basically do it alone. While you are working 9 to 5 and you are trying to explore what is entrepreneurship is all about, you are basically struggling to build your own platform, and I think it's just hard. One day I went to Magic Roadmap, Magic Acceleration Program Map roadshow in Bangsa, and during the roadshow, I found out that there's a very group. I think there's quite a number of people who are joining the roadshow, and then after the events, we do some networking with the founders who are attending the event, and then at the time I pitched my idea to strangers, and then uh, I founded my ex partner, ex co-founder back then. So this is the first challenge actually for that I encounter when you found someone that is not really passionate about the idea of Moovby itself. Like a peer-to-peer car sharing. Um, Both of us have some basically spirit to explore the entrepreneurship journey. Both of us having the same problem, which is we don't have people to team up and then build this idea together. So from that moment, I think we made a wrong decision um, to go into the marriage, because like uh, we don't know like what's going to be for the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years down the road. So bila kita jumpa and then we try to like melamar and then get into marriage, rupanya two of us are not basically in line in terms of direction. So that's the first hurdle that I need to encounter.
How
And
long took you to realize that both of you were not aligned in terms of direction?
sorry, Shahrul, can you repeat again?
How long you that it took for both of you to realize that you were not in line before you parted ways?
It took about plus minus around 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think during that period everything is fine. We are exploring the market, we are building the platform, we launched the platform together into the market. But I realized that after 6 to 8 months, both of us, like we have kind of like having the different direction, and I would like to pursue for Moovby the original idea for peer-to-peer car sharing, while my ex co-founders are trying to a bit different things. So yeah, I think that's the first challenge that I encounter lah. Um, further than Further after that, like we did another mistake actually. That I think I'm quite shy to share this to public, but I think in the spirits of learning, like maybe I can just share so that we are not doing the same mistake again. Um, my ex co-founders who are leading the business side of things, and I'm very much focusing on the technologies and like tech and engineering side of things. So I focus very much on building the platform, deploy to the market as soon as possible, and we give a lot of trust to the other partner to make a decision on the business. So that's a mistake actually, because what he did was he gave the 51% of the company to the potential investor. Uh,
51, sorry, 51, 51.
51%, betul.
Wow.
51% to the investors, to the angel investor. Sorry, investors, institutional investors who are running the traditional car rental back then. So when he pitched to us that okay, these investors would like to take the majority and then giving 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 15 promises without a proper black and white. So at the time, I just like focusing on the platform, building the engineering platform, right? Deploy to the market, and then I say, okay lah, yeah, if this is the good for us, then we should sign and go. So that's the second challenge that we were facing. From that moment, everything mess up, you know, like my ex co-founders finally MIA, basically run away lah, basically from the company. He said that perhaps this condition we cannot save the company anymore. So at the end of the day, I need to basically handle this situation because he left the company. I need to negotiate with the debt investors. I need to basically go along the way until one day that I think this setting is not going to work for us, you know. So what I did was I went to the Stanford, you know, like thanks to Magic as well, because from that program it basically helped me to explore what is all about the startup and entrepreneurship and investments and you know, like all these like terms and term sheet and everything. So I went back to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur, and then I jumpa that company. I said, okay, this is not going to work because you take 51% and you don't deliver your promises that you put on the paper on the paper without basically sign lah. I think this is not going to go anywhere for us. In fact, for me to get the marketing budget for 1,000, it costs us like 2 to 3 pages of proposal. So you imagine that. How can we you know, like would like to run this company properly if we are having this kind of like restriction from the parent company. So I negotiate and then I pull the handbrake, and yeah, that's a different story lah. Panjang lah nak cerita, tapi I'm not going to expose that. But that's a second challenge that I were facing that make the whole journey quite mess up. But to be honest, I learned so many things under the process. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the sharing, Nick. Appreciate it. Appreciate your honesty and sharing that particular event that happened, you know,
Mm.
for your startup. And it was so unfortunate. But I guess with such resiliency and spirit of your your co- your own founded company, that's why you move on despite your friend went MIA, your ex partner went MIA. You have to renegotiate everything. I mean,
Yeah.
this is something horrible, and it's not about, you know, talking back into the past. It's all about sharing for in the spirit of learning and others. You know, ambil iktibar, lah, right? Thank you so much. I mean, for those in Clubhouse, I mean, just for information, we are streamed live in YouTube. Nick was sharing his sad story or sad events earlier. It was so gloomy, and I'm not saying that he's about to cry whatsoever, but I'll give him a breather. Minum air ke apa. I'll move on to Jerry. Jerry, yes, another sad story from you. Ada tak?
Uh, too many. I don't know where to start. Okay, but wow, what a story, Nick. I think I can really definitely, imagine the stress and also the struggle behind, when handling your ex co-founder and also handling your investor at the same time.
Yeah.
And
But Jerry, you co-founded. I mean, you had a co-founder as well. You were not a sole. You didn't found the company all by yourself.
yeah, no.
Uh,
Okay. Uh,
where to start?
my co-founder,
So many.
my co-founder is actually in the Clubhouse as well, right? I think one of the lucky. I'm not too sure whether I'm not too sure whether I'm lucky or she's unlucky, right? So my co-founder for for my life, for my entire life, right, is actually my wife.
Okay. I was about to ask. Okay.
Yeah, you
You
know.
better
From,
know what you see tonight. Else kita
eh,
tidur luar, bro.
No, she's okay. She has been listening to this part of story now for so many years already.
All
Yeah,
right,
so
good.
so I think she has no choice but to drag into this situation. I think from my very first venture, all the way from UK, we make a big buck until we came back Malaysia. In less than 2 years we lost everything. Then we go back to work, and then we started get dog health metrics, and we go through the up and downs. Yeah, I mean she's with me, all the time, right? So I think one of the advice that if let's say I would give to those that wanted to go for business, right? Drag your wife into a business, but with the disclaimer that you make sure that you can actually handle the other half, well, right? Okay, so I think story. No, what was the questions that you asked again, Cheryl? Sorry.
Okay, there was no specific question. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get your views. If you can share with us, the rest of the audience in Clubhouse who are watching in YouTube live now, uh, the fallout, the fallout of the startups, the hardship, the challenges that you face when you first started, or the challenges you're still facing, for the benefit of learning, I would say, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm, okay. That's too much. That's actually too many. I think
Mm.
Nick mentioned about the problems or the challenges in between co-founders. I think this is definitely one of the largest thing that you might actually encounter when you start the business with your business partner, right? So I think one of the closest experience that we can actually resonate, right? Um okay, one of the closest experience that we can resonate, right? Even if let's say your co-founder is actually managing accounts or finance, as a founder yourself, right? Okay, this is really a hardcore lessons that we learned, right? You can't give yourself excuses saying that no, I'm not good in terms of like dollar and cents, since he or she is actually the co-founder, I'll leave everything to them, right? Trust me, you know when the moment that they screw you, you are really screwed, right? So I
yeah,
think when we okay, so when we started Get Dog, right, we do actually have co-founding team member where um her background is actually in finance. So basically, we trust her everything in terms of like the dollar and cents. Not until the extent that she actually able to give 51% to the investor. But basically, she actually managed all the finances, right? So from int revenue expenses and EPF also, and the worst thing is also the tax submission, right? So we run the companies for 2 years, and even we raised some small sum of money from investor until the moment that when she left, we realized that we actually own the government tax money,
Wow.
and the amount of fines that we are going to pay is actually going to really will actually cause the company to close down, right? So and then when we actually take back, the accounts, and then when Chris actually started to picking up, there's a lot of shit. Sorry to use this word, but there's a lot of like hurdles and things that she need to actually go through, justify, explain to government, explain to accountant, explain to our Singapore counterpart. That's the thing. And so as a founder, I think that the advice, the experience from here is actually don't give yourself excuses, saying that okay, you are not familiarized with dollar and cents. Even you don't, you need to know your numbers, right? And whether your business, whether your startups can scale or not, this is the fundamental dollar and cents. So despite you actually from business background, technical background, who I don't care, but you need to really pick up your dollar and cents.
Thank you for the sharing, Jerry.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I mean, tonight we have actually panelists. If you were to take their names, is M2M or M&M, Modern Care and Moovby. And it looks like you guys have a lot of synergy together. You guys found shitty partners from the very beginning and move on from there. Oh, okay. Cool. And those in Clubhouse, I'm sure when while listening to Nick and Jerry, trying to be pretty much politically correct, trying to share their bad experiences, I'm sure you have thoughts, you have questions, or you want to add on remarks. Feel free to raise up your hands. We'll invite you to speak in Clubhouse. It's a very casual session chat. Uh, if you want to add on to or echo whatever Jerry and Nick has mentioned earlier about trying to find the best co-founder, the best partner. Also, I think Jerry rightfully said, you need to be in the know of everything at the very least on the very surface, not even though, because to run a startup, and I guess you guys can agree with me, it is very lean organization. It's not hierarchical. There's no me and you in a startup. There's always a team. There's no boss. There's no subordinate. I don't know accounts. You know accounts. I should pick up and try to get accounts to avoid mistakes such as owing to the government huge number of ringgit Malaysia, not paying tax. I'm sure it was a painful event for you, Jerry, and I guess things turned out well. And even my partner here, Zali, he would have I think he have had many experiences similar to Nick and Jerry. You want to share some of your stories, bro? Go ahead. Can I call you upon?
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes, dengar.
I got a, first of all, I got I'm a bit disappointed with Nick's and Jerry's challenges because I was hoping that I could hear some red paint being thrown at the office or running or being kena kejar dengan polis, curi bread dekat 7-Eleven, something like that lah, Startup stories, right?
Nak
But then
dramatik ke
coming
tak?
back to
Dramatik stories. Ada kot, I think ada. Pak Jerry ni kat cerita. Belum
Silakan.
lagi. We got to that.
hoping
Okay,
for something like that. But anyway, I guess I think to a certain extent, most of startups in our own way, we had ideas that we wanted to pursue, and some were being pursued, and some are not being pursued. There's a journey. There's a lot of challenges. But very interesting to see the difference of challenges
sorry, is it me or
between
is
Nick
it
and
yeah,
Jerry. Nick, you are basically
Zali's connectivity is not really that good. Okay,
test.
boleh.
Can you hear me?
Can.
Boleh,
Go
eh?
ahead.
Okay, I'll try to speak a little bit slowly lah. What I can notice is that Nick's challenge and Jerry's challenge are similar, but it's also a little bit different in a way that Jerry got his you got your wife as a co-founder as well, So I guess that gave you a little bit more strength, you know. I'm not sure about Nick. Did you start it off alone, Nick, or you have besides the co-founder punya problem tadi tu?
Yeah,
Af-
I bring I carry on Moovby alone for quite sometimes because I like a bit afraid lah to invite co-founders level into my journey. But alhamdulillah now I have the new co-founders.
Right.
We are very close friends, and everything is good right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
lesson
great.
learned.
Sorry,
Lesson learned.
nak interject sikit. Jerry, you married your wife before you found the company or after you founded the company?
Way before I founded the companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
I get her on board when she was still studying in college.
Betul fikir jauh tu. Zali, go ahead, Zali.
Well, I see that both of you started off differently from what you were originally doing. I guess probably 80% of people nowadays also we are doing something that we did not study for,
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we studied different thing, but we are doing different thing. And I'm sure that if given the opportunity for us to turn things back, go back in time, we might have taken a different route altogether had we known certain knowledge a lot earlier. Um, then, basically, your beginning start off by trying to solve the problem and also increasing the value of you convert a liability into an asset in a way,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and then Jerry, you basically you came up with you came up with something in a way quite new, differentiating the influencer and key opinion leader. So I've got, let me just shoot one question to both of you. Macam Nick, in fact, I think I have asked you a lot. I have asked you regarding your Moovby, which to me I find is quite a challenge because bila you bagi sewa kereta kat orang, the risk of the car being stolen or being used for crime and stuff like that, right? And I know, I'm pretty sure you have thought about all that, right?
Yeah.
But can you take us through the process of you you tackle this problem of this car being used
Yeah.
in crime scene and all those things?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think everyone that I met, that I pitched, before I actually building the platform, having the same concerns about their car safety and belonging, right? Same goes to me as well. Like we are human, right? We have the same like risk calculation. When I first rent out my car officially on Moovby, I got the same basically curiosity, like what if, and what if, right? So we tackle down all of these like uncertainty by developing the a sophisticated and very stringent process for them to become a user and for the car owner to list their car on our platform, right? Because on the marketplace like Moovby or maybe like Grab or Airbnb, for instance, the trust is really the core pillar of Moovby is built, right? So we take the trust into a top priority on top of other KPIs, other milestones. So we put trust and safety. This is the top priority for us. We need to do anything to make sure that those who putting their car on the platform are safe, and those who are renting the car are also trusted and basically a good people lah. So we do a EKYC process. We embedded the AI and machine learning. We do a data crawling to more than the 10 data points to basically learn who are the drivers. And in fact, we blacklisted around 15% of the user who are coming to our platform. So I think it's a quite huge number, but I think this is the safety basically process lah for us to make sure that it is safe. We have the insurance on top of that. So the insurance, we basically make sure that anything happen during the rental period, there's a coverage for them, either for the car and for the host. For us to basically like go down into like if the car is being used for whatever purpose, I think we don't have that basically um uh, basically way to basically to stop them, right? But what we can do is actually before they start renting and after they renting in the car, so we have that period to basically handle all the process. So itulah basically apa yang kita buat.
Uh,
Alhamdulillah.
Sorry, if I may interject, despite the preemptive measures that you have taken into consideration, you have your SOPs, your EKYCs, have you had any bad experience in terms of actual operation of Moovby?
Yeah, prior to our product reach the what we call as a product market fit, at the early stage of Moovby, we encounter two issue where actually the car is not being returned and the renter like left the car somewhere beside the road. But we learned a lot from that process, and right now I would say that we are looking at 0.002%, 0.0002% incident or reported cases through our platform from
Mm-hmm.
more than 1.3 million rental hour on our platform. So I would say that like we cannot remove 100% risk because we think that those who are putting their car on a platform, they are also the entrepreneur, like micro entrepreneur, right? They wanted to earn money, and in the sharing economy, you are not just sharing the profit, but you're also sharing some risk same goes to Airbnb, right? So what we can do is actually to mitigate the risk as best as we can. And right now, I would say we are at a stage where we are confident that our platform can basically secure both side of the marketplace. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Zadi, I interject kejap. Sorry, Zadi. I want to get Jerry to discuss on his forte, which is KOL, and in the context of mitigating risk as well. I think Jerry's next is more on asset, right? You might never know satu kereta tu kita curi ke apa, and even the customer might use the vehicle for illegal operations. But yeah, you were deliberated earlier. But for Jerry, it's a bit more interesting. It involves personality. It involves individual. In the corporate world, when previously, when we were to choose or pick and choose a brand ambassador, for example, for our brand in the corporate world, we would be very, very picky on who we picked, he or she. Normally it will be a celebrity, a local celebrity, normally under normal circumstances. But these celebrities or influencers, they most of them, 90% are not clean in the context that they're not socially friendly in terms of their attitude, in terms of their personal life being brought into the scene. I mean, the entertainment industry is super interesting. Braun is not here with us tonight to share more, tapi tak apa. So for your KOLs, for your key opinion leaders that you train as well as you feature in your statistics, how do you ensure that, or how do I put it, how do you avoid scammers? How do you avoid key opinion leaders who are not subject matter expert themselves, and when they go into the market, telling people that they're the product of modern KOL, yet again, they are promoting non-ethical or even putting bad influences with regards to their personal life, for example, and people will relate to modern KOL product. They came from modern KOL. How do you mitigate that?
Hmm. A very, very, very good questions. Okay. Despite how, I want to tell you that, we put every measurements that, we have, interview, due date, or, a basic, go through the basic background, right? I'm going to be very honest to you, right? We can't even 100% sure that, they won't do anything, how you say, not clean, right? So I think the best that we can do right here is actually to really tell them, this is the consequences that you're going to face, right? Okay. So yeah, as long as we're dealing with human, right? So the challenges that we actually face before, actually from coming from two aspects, right? First of all, is actually uh, when we put a lot of time and also heart into them, right? Uh, Human being a human, when they think that they are big enough, or when they are literally, or famous enough, right? They will leave you, right? So I think we just have to accept that matter of fact before, because when you accept that, right, when they left, you kind of like, you're not that disappointed, or you're not that sad, right? First thing, right? So I think you just have to tell yourself, no, it's normal, right? People come and go, right? First thing. And secondly, talking about the brand side, right? So we always manage the brand expectation in the sense that, right, for those QL that we recommended, we will do the best, in terms of like make sure that we get the right people with the right attitude. I think in terms of the right attitude, right, for us is actually still manageable, because these are the people. I think you mentioned about a major, right? So a major means that they really just started, right? They are not the kind of like big influencer or celebrity, right? They might not have the kind of like attitude yet, thanks God. So we manage the expectation in the sense that we definitely do our best, to make sure that we get you the right guy, right? But maybe there's actually 20 to 30% that things might actually went the other way around. So what we do is actually we will manage both side expectation before we kickstart any project or campaign.
All right, Zali, do you agree with me? Based on what Nick has explained earlier, and Jerry deliberated on the mitigated risk, that Nick's challenges are more tangible and easily quantified, manageable as compared to Jerry's, which is involving humans.
Exactly.
Human, no,
Because
it really not
Jerry's
quantified.
challenge.
Nick, do you agree with me? Yours is easier to compare to Jerry, easier to manage.
Uh, yeah, I think so. But for Jerry as well, I think um, you you can you can tap on that, like based on the data, and like what like uh, human got data and personality from the data we can process to mitigate the risk and whatnot. Yeah, I agree with you,
Yeah,
Sharif.
but nevertheless, sorry, Nick, you are handling human as well. Your customers are the renters.
Mm,
So pretty much similar to what Jerry is managing from a different context altogether. It's not only managing asset, not only managing vehicles. You are managing the actual person who rents the vehicle, right?
yeah.
I think we can safe to agree that it's easier to manage machines than managing human.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's why Facebook changed the name to Meta right now. So we are moving to metaverse.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure if it was not profitable in terms of commercial side for both Modern KOL and Moovby, if it was not healthy, you guys won't be here today. You
Yeah.
guys won't be championing still and but still believing in the DNA, the spirit of your startup. But then again, Jerry, I came to know that you flowered so early. Basically, you became a millionaire at the age of 24, correct? 24. Yeah.
23
23, even earlier, you became a millionaire. Malaysia ringgit, eh? All right.
Malaysia.
At least a millionaire. Yeah, at least a millionaire at age of 23. And someone earlier shared with me, you lost everything 2 years after, at age of 25. Was running a startup really that damn good that, at the age of 23, you were able to become a millionaire? And what happened, if you can share with us? I mean, if you want to share, up to you. Within 2 years, 1 million habis.
Mm, okay. I answer our first question first. The advice that I always give youngster, when they dream to become an entrepreneur, right? I will tell them, for 5 seconds or 5 minutes, right? Please reconsider your decision,
Mhm.
right?
Why,
So I think, sorry.
yeah, why reconsider?
Uh, I think I'm not okay. So I think all of the glamorous that perception given by as an entrepreneur to a lot of people, um okay, so I think one of the things that people say is actually freedom, right? When you actually be your own boss, you have that freedoms to actually do the things you want, at whatever times or wherever places you imagine that you're actually in Pulau Redang, the seaside, having a computer, you can actually do your startups and whatnot, right? Okay, forget about that, right? So when your staff is actually, can choose to work from Monday to Friday, a fixed time from 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, right? Okay, forget about it. You literally working, 12 hours and 7 days in a week, right? So this is actually entrepreneur. When your staff is actually maybe driving a big car, the big car that maybe can actually better than yours as well, right? So I think the relative fact is actually um you really need to work your ass out and also to be prepared when things actually go wrong as well, right? So I think this is my advice for those that really wanted to to have freedom or financial freedom, because entrepreneur, it might happen, right? But it will really take some journey, perseverance, and also your sweat, your tears, a lot of sacrifices with your families, with your friends. A lot of people don't understand you. Your friends might you don't have time for your friend, you don't have time for mama, whatsoever, because all the things that you have in your mind, you need to worry for your salary. And the worst thing is actually you're the last to get salary, right? Everyone get paid, but you're the last, to get salary, right? So I think not to scare, those that wanted to become entrepreneur, but I just wanted to let people know, right? You be prepared when that happened. Okay. Okay, so that's actually my advice to youngster that actually aspire to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so go back to my story. Um, the reason is because of I actually went to UK at my age of 19, right? So I actually worked there for 4 years. So in fact, that was because of by that time during that time, right? £1 is actually equivalent to 7 ringgit Malaysia. So it's not difficult for me to actually make a million because it's actually equivalent to 300 no sorry 150 pound only, correct? Yeah, 150 pound only. Sorry, 150,000 pound, right?
Times seven.
Yeah. So of course, but again, I actually work very very hard. I still remember the first year I was there. Literally, I actually worked 7 days a week for one whole year, right? So when people are resting, I'm still working like 12 hours per day. I work 7 days a week. Then I will actually work in a chippy shop, right? Fish and chip shop. Fish and chip and Chinese takeaway, right? So that's only one because I actually came from a very very poor family, right? So I know that that's actually so to be an entrepreneur, right? I don't you actually you need to tell yourself there's actually no back door for you. You can't actually U-turn. You can't. It's not like you have the gear to reverse, then you can reverse. No, you can only go forward, right? So I tell myself, no, I really need to make it. No matter how hard it is. So I work 7 days. Then for the first year, and then in fact, the second, third, and fourth year I was there, I even managed to actually open my own fish and chip shop in UK, in Liverpool. I was staying in Liverpool. Oh, 5-0 to Manchester United, right?
Yay. Sorry.
You will never walk alone, right? So I was staying in Liverpool for 3 years. So yep, I actually have my fish and chip shop. So then, due to some reason, I need to come back to Malaysia, right? So I actually literally brought back 1 million. Then I actually started. So I think that time was very very young, only at the age of 23, right? And then by holding 1 million in your pocket, basically, I think as a youngster tends to be too naive and also too proud. I have 1 mil right at the age of 23. So again, I actually started my cafe business in Puchong. I still remember 2007. 2007, yes, 2007. So because have the kind of money, right? So literally, and I don't really look at it. I don't really justify. In fact, the time when I touched down to Malaysia to the time that my cafe opened is only less than 3 months. No proper study, no research. My friends say Puchong is a good place. Okay, cool. I'm just going to open my cafe. No beauty, no whatsoever, no experience. I thought that I can make it in UK. I thought the same thing can happen in Malaysia. No, right? You need to localize. You need to really understand the market, right? Then when I actually because I was young, I have a lot of money, right? So when people rented the shop, start from the ground floor, expand to second floor or third floor, I said no, because I've dreamed. I did it in UK. So I rented the whole block. I rented the whole block, when the time
You're
I
ambitious.
closed down. Yeah, when the time I closed down in 1 year, right? So the second floor and third floor is still empty. I've ambitious. The second floor, first ground and first floor is actually, cafe. Second floor, I'm a very good employer. I have a staff accommodation at second floor. So a lot of things went wrong, right? So when I bought the equipment, I want the first hand. No, no second hand. I have money, I speak a very posh English. So a lot of
You
story, right?
had your UK accent back then still lah.
Yeah.
No
So
hilang
so
already.
to cut a long story short, so um 2 years, a lot of experience, to cut a long story short, if let's ask me, I say, don't be naive, did your study, don't rush, make your best preparation at the same time, to prepare for the worst to come. Right. I think at that time I only go, no plan B, no plan C. When my dad actually told me that, Jerry, chill, you're just back for literally, for how many months, work for people first. I said no. Why I need to work for other people? I have money, what? So yeah. So I mean, just to summarize, in a few sentences, lah.
Sounds like gangster already.
In fact, I believe, right? I believe you'll become more gangster than me when you have 1 million at the age of 23.
Yeah.
Hmm.
On a serious note, Jerry, by having that rebellious trait, did you foresee it will be a good trait to become a founder in a startup based on your
Eh,
personal experience? Yeah.
Okay, I think we sometimes we really need to admit, right? It's not for everyone. Really, it's not for everyone. You really need to, understand yourself well in the sense that when really. So I think people will always plan for the best, but my only advice, is actually to prepare for the worst as well,
Yeah,
right?
but in the
So-
startup ecosystem, is always people always advise us to be gung ho. You want to do a startup, you have to be gung ho. If you're not gung ho, you'll be swallowed by the big fishes in the sea. Right, so you don't, don't join the bandwagon and play safe. Go for your 9 to 5 employment.
Yeah, you're right. You're,
But
you're
you
right.
did that. But you did that. You had a plan B. You had a backup plan. And you were throwing your CVs again, and you went back working 9 to 5, right?
No, that's not my plan. That's because I have no choice
If
because
I
I have
got the
no money.
timeline wrong. Okay, no
Yeah,
choice. Oh, it was after when you turn 25, you have lost your 1 million ringgit. It forced you to actually throw away or start to throw your CVs and try to look for employment. Ah,
yeah,
okay. So you learn it
Humility.
hard way. Good experience, bro. Good experience.
yeah.
Nick, you have similar stories to share?
Yeah, pretty much. I think
You you a millionaire as well? Tak tahu pun. Betul.
no, I'm a very very kampung guys lah back then. Yeah, so when I run Moovby, right, we are seeking for investments and grants from that time. Taking grant is very long process, like and what I did was to fund my company. I work for two companies, like on the consultation basis and being the advisor for on technical side for another company. So the money that I earn from that two companies, I fund my company. I pay for the basic salaries of my teams and I pay for the rentals and make sure the platform up and running. So that was a struggle back then on my personal journey. I worked for about a year, like Jerry said, 7 days a week, more than 12 hours a day. People don't see this, right? People see, oh, okay, yeah, still small, okay lah. But the struggle behind the scenes, I think only founders knows how they were facing. But I think for me, it is something that I think I'm doing, like willingly, because there's a lot of learning process that I personally gain from this journey, and uh, not like Jerry. Like maybe Jerry got some experience running a startup before. For myself, this is my first venture, and like I mentioned, like I've learned a lot.
What is more interesting is if you can share with us, both Nick and Jerry, you guys were there at one time, let it be 9 to 5 or your own company, your own venture. Then from the very top, you went down the wheel at your bottommost. How do you guys manage? I mean, what do you do and what do you do to jumpstart, to pick things up again and ensure you learn your lesson from the pain points that you have had? Uh, what happened and how do you manage? If you can share with us, Nick.
Yeah, I think the reason why I still doing what I'm doing today is because of the big why behind movie itself. That there are many stories behind movie that empower me myself every single day. That maybe other people, like maybe investors or perhaps like other people outsiders, they don't see this. Um, One of the story that uh, always pushing my ass off the bed to work on my idea is one of the hosts who is a single mom. So dia punya husband meninggal dekat tempat kerja. Nauzubillah. And then he need to basically take care of I mean her 4 kids, So he found a movie that dia kata, Nick, can you help me because I need to earn some money from my car. Otherwise, bank akan tarik. I said, yes, I can help you. So saya basically what I did was I helped her to basically onboard their car and then connect with the potential renters, and from that moments, she basically managed to pay off the basically the monthly loan lah, monthly commitments. So that's one of the story that basically empower myself to working on Moovby during the early days. So I see like how the piece of platform, even though we are not that big yet at the time, and now growing, how can piece of platform can change people's life. And when I think this is one of the story out of many lah from Moovby. When I reflect back myself when I was in Grab, I see like how the piece of platform can empower millions of people across the Southeast Asia on how they commute. Right? If you see like when the day before my taxi, the taxi industry memang teruk betul lah kan, orang naik dalam taxi and then got molested, charge tinggi gila. So I was very impressed like how my taxi built this platform and then empower a lot of people. And so yeah, this is why one of the reason like why I'm still basically like pushing out myself to do Moovby. Yeah, but alhamdulillah right now, if I can share, we have more than 10,000 registered vehicle, more than 400 makes and model. You can find from the compact car to luxury one. You got Lamborghini, you got the sedan, pickup truck, anything. You can name it. And we have more than few hundred thousand users and growing, especially during right now, like after the lockdown, the market dah buka balik kan. We can see that so many people are jumping on the platform and we empower them to basically rent and share cars. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the sharing, Nick. I believe those were the motivational factor that gave you strength to continue. I'm sure ada banyak cerita lagi about your customers and that particular story about that female host that not to be named. So it changed life. I guess it touched you in the heart. Hence why it gives you strength to further believe in your startup and expand it further. Cool. All right, let me see. Do we have any questions from the audience of Clubhouse? Please feel free to raise up your hands. We'll move you to audience and have a chat with our fellow speakers and those who are watching our YouTube channel as well, live streaming. Feel free to give comments. We'll take our questions accordingly. Jerry, let's continue. Jerry, you were sort of lucky because you have had your backbone with you during your rainy days. You were with your wife, during your rainy days. Nick dia sorang-sorang je. Dah lah. Tak ngam with the partner. The partner screw up the whole deal with the angel. So a bit unlucky on that side. But alhamdulillah, he turned out well. But I would say you were lucky because you had your backbone. Did it help? Or there was something else more than your wife that actually gave you the strength to really, try to pick up where you fell and move forward?
Okay. I think before I share my answer and experience, right? I think what Nick mentioned just now is actually very, very important. Your reasons, your why, and so your vision in terms of like what you do, right? I think especially because I need to actually mention this. Okay, because for Chinese, right, when we started the business, right, it's always about making money. Okay, I think this is like 60s, 70s, when you can still do trading business, your cost is actually 5 ringgit, you sell 10 ringgit, you earn the 5 ringgit, right? But I just wanted to tell that this story won't happen nowadays and in the future as well. So if let's say your intention of starting your entrepreneur or your business just because you wanted to make money, right? Forget about it because you will struggle to the hell, right? So I think what I definitely agree to what Nick mentioned, right? Your reason, your why is very important. Why Nick started, he has a great vision. Why I started Get Dogs because my father experience. Why I started Modis because I wanted to empower youngsters to give them the right direction, so and so forth, right? Just to add on and to one what Nick mentioned, especially to Chinese. So doing business is not just about making money. I mean, you can make small money now, but it won't be a lot. All right. Okay. I think throughout the whole journey, there's actually three persons I want to thank, right? So I think first of all, it's actually my parents. I think how my parents actually grew me is very different compared to a traditional. I would say we are not rich, right? They didn't actually give me a fantastic education. In fact, I actually just finished my diploma. I even though I actually money to pursue degree. But what I wanted to say is actually the way how they supported us, right? When things went wrong, the first thing they do, right, is not scold us. Then they will pat our shoulders saying that, no, okay, don't worry, you fail, but it's okay, life move on, and I believe in you guys, can pick up or do better, moving forward. This make a lot of difference. That's why, I feel for so many times, I started my very first venture. I think I told Shah before, I started my very first venture, 11 years old, selling comic books in Pasar Malam. It's a field business. I can't even sell any single comic book, but they won't scold us, you see. I mean, and yeah, they won't say that, oh, you're lousy kids, I'm so shy to have you as a kid. Why are you so lousy? Why can't you actually make more money like other kids, so on and so forth. So I'm lucky. I would say, thanks for I'm pretty lucky, right? And I still remember when I failed my second business, the first thing my mom called me is actually saying that, Jerry, first thing just wanted to make sure, I just want to confirm you won't commit suicide, right? The moment I lost 1 million at old money, right? And she said, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure you won't commit suicide. And secondly, she said, don't worry, I still have a house, not big, those days we're staying in what we call the 50,000 house from the government, like one small little living hall with 2 room. I stay together with my mom and my sister. She said, I don't have a big house, but you can always come back, with your wife, stay with us. I can sleep with my sister, 2 room, right? So she stay with my sister, then another room for me and my wife, right? So no scolded, no whatsoever, just said, make sure you're okay. Things doesn't go well, no worry, just come back, right? So I want to thank, my parents, especially to my mom. Same goes to my mother-in-law. I'm really, thankful and also very, very happy for that. And secondly, of course, you mentioned my wife, right? So as I said, I'm not sure this is actually lucky or unlucky, right? She actually followed me all the way to UK. So I get to know her, yeah, since she was still, in college, right? So the moment she finished her study, then I drag her all the way to UK, to make she can't even finish her diploma because she failed one subject, but she can't retake because she was in UK, right? And then the worst time that when I actually went into lost all the money, right? I still recall the poorest moment of our life is actually I need to actually go to the pawn shop, right, to actually pawn our engaged ring. And we actually bought that, in diamond platinum. So it's actually a diamond ring now, right? Okay, so this is fun, to share, because when you guys wanted to engage, right, don't buy silver diamond, buy gold. Because when I actually go to the pawn shop and wanted to pawn the engaged ring, right, you know what the pawn shop told me?
What?
They said, Jerry, the diamond is so small, it worth nothing. Better you take it back,
Wow.
right? So
Oh,
that's a tougher moment of our life, but thanks how we actually, with the support of some family, we borrow some money, to actually we pass all the obstacles, right? So the second person I want to thank is actually my wife, up and down. Um then yeah, we kind of like, we are more stable right now. Okay, so second person to thank. Third person, which is the most important thing, and I think most people were actually neglected, especially as the entrepreneur, okay, is to thank myself.
thank yourself. All right.
Yeah, I think it's really to thank yourself, right? I think there's a lot of entrepreneur friends, in the clubhouse, because of, I get to know them in the GMP USA, right? When things happen, right, the first persons I believe at entrepreneur, especially those that are here in GMP, right? I think the very first person when things went wrong, right, the first person that we will blame is actually ourselves, right? I just want to tell, to everyone, as an entrepreneur, I think relax, I think our shoulder, we are stressed enough, right? So times actually treat us better. Yeah. So I just wanted to thank the last person to thank is really to thank ourselves lah.
Mm. I think that's why Jerry looks so happy. Like during our meeting, I can see like the positive energy from Jerry. As a secret, huh?
Thank you, Jerry, for the for the honest sharing. And wow, this Clubhouse session and live YouTube streaming started to feel like bersamamu TV3 lah pula. And for those, you guys are in Clubhouse, you can only listen to us, but in YouTube, we can see each other, and the way how and Nick mentioned things with hand gestures, and I'm 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 proud to say that I'm proud to say Jerry cried, which is normal. It's true that our backbones, our parents, our wife, our friends, and yourself. And I really appreciate your honesty, Jerry, in sharing your personal experience with us, our fellow friends in Clubhouse, those viewers in YouTube, which will be worldwide. And this pretty much will be very, it's very valuable because I personally have always said this, and I'm still saying it. I will still say it in the future, being very blunt. Startups founders in Malaysia are pretty much pretentious compared to those in Indonesia. I'm seeing it myself. This is my personal challenge to those founders, to those startup wannabe from Malaysia. I'm generalizing. Most of them who jumps into the bandwagon of being a startup, they pernah buat apa? They just want to have the glam, the lack of want to be the next Facebook, the next Google. They are into it for the glam of it without having the right problem statement, without solving the right problem and giving proper solution that would benefit not only them, of course, eventually in any business you make money, but it benefits the community as well. Like what Moovby is promoting, is to self-sustain, to promote self-sustain to car owners. Cerita dia pasal the host tadi tu, she was kereta almost kena tarik, right? And
Yeah,
via Moovby, that didn't happen.
yeah,
And that's a true life scenario.
yeah,
And Jerry had many other experience of, I mean, I wouldn't go there. I, I want to avoid, having a very bad session. But honestly, I've seen myself, in Indonesia, the startups that they are there, uh, they, they, they give solutions to people, and the ventures that they do really benefit others rather than just going for the glam, showing off, going for the money. Eventually it's all good, but rightfully Jerry has and Nick has mentioned, it was really a roller coaster ride. It may look nice now, it may look fancy, fantabulous, but in fact, dude, if you if you're not on the right track, you are not guided properly, you will be misguided by the eh, by the I would say fake rainbow being portrayed by the startup ecosystem. Blame it on Silicon Valley, right?
yeah.
That's where it started. That's where it started. Everybody wants to be Mark Zuckerberg, but people don't know how he had the problem of wooing his crush. That's how it started. You know, the downside of it. The downside of it, kena bully apa semua, he got rejected. I mean, one Facebook started simply because he wanted to stalk the girl. So the hardship, the pain point, the hardship, the challenges, the downfall, these are things I guess young entrepreneurs fail to really put onto their business canvas and anticipate accordingly. I'm still. I don't know if you guys want to go against me. Those in Clubhouse, if you are against my whatever I've said earlier, go ahead. My point being, most Malaysian startups are pretentious
Mm,
as compared to other startups in other countries, especially the like of Indonesian startups. They produce more ventures with more honesty,
mm.
and that's a personal challenge to startups out there. I'm sorry, this is me. I'm being very blunt. I've shared with you, Jerry, earlier. Every time I moderate session, it will be a no host but session. Tapi dah lama tak buat event kan, but anyhow, it's okay. I know Zali might have a different train of thoughts on this. What do you think, bro?
Not all, maybe, not all, but definitely there's a sign for it. I guess because they're comparing themselves locally. One of the things that they're comparing themselves locally, and they get sometimes consumed by their own ego. And of course, it's for the glam side of it. But coming back to those stories just now, those look, you got nothing to be ashamed of, because those are inspiring stories. Startups need this type of stories. They need direction. They need to know that what they are going through is nothing compared what other people are going through. Um, you should, it's very inspiring. So um, let's hope that all these stories will give the upcoming startups uh, bullets or the fuel that they need to move forward. But anyway, out of curiosity, Jerry and Nick, who do you measure yourself upon to, and who's your reference point in life or in this business uh, adventure?
I think let's try to shift the conversation into a more I would say happy one. Yeah, one of my friends quote, she would say for such situation, aku nggak bisa kalau kayak gini yang buat apa-apa berbau kekeluargaan, sedih aku banget. So let's move on.
Yeah,
Uh, yes, but there's nothing to be ashamed about. Sally was very rightful to say that. Not to shame about sharing your experience. It's all about benefiting others and not doing the same mistake again and again, right? So yeah, actually I wanted to swing the mood a little bit. I minta Nick and Jerry to promote Moovby as well and Modern KOL for the benefit of those audience in Clubhouse yang baru masuk and our audience in YouTube. Tapi tak apa. Zali dah tanya tadi, who do you look up upon to, Nick?
For myself, I'm really inspired by the group of by the co-founders of Airbnb. When they started, I think the story is about pretty much the same with myself, but of course they have a more nicer, like more prepared in terms of the journey, right? So if you see like Airbnb, when they started, they almost closed down the shop because they have around 30 days financial before they run out of the money. But how they bounced back was really impressive. I learned their stories on how they like sell the cereal to fund the company, and then and at one point they hit a jackpot, and then now Airbnb is one of the biggest hotel chains in the world. So I think they are one of my reference, when it comes to building the startup. Yeah. How about Jerry?
Jerry, siapa?
Alright.
Kau
Okay,
nak
so
sedih-sedih lagi ya?
yeah. Okay.
Don't tell your wife again.
Aduh. Can we invite your wife to speak tak in Clubhouse? Can I
Yeah,
invite her? Boleh tak?
you can, but I'm not too sure whether she's actually with a baby or not. But you can try to invite her. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead tadi, Jerry.
So I think
Who are-
first of all, let me apologize. It's never my intention to bring everyone more to that, but let's have fun.
Please don't apologize. It was a very good sharing session. I second that. I think Zali and Nick agree with me as well. It was
Yeah,
very
it is.
good opinion. You were being very honest. I truly, honestly appreciate it. And I think our fellow friends in Clubhouse as well as those watching you, they appreciate the honesty. Tak senang tau lelaki nak nangis.
Can you stop saying that? I didn't cry. I didn't cry. All right. Okay. I think okay. There's actually a few lah, right? I'm just going to mention three, right? Three, right? So one is actually definitely my dad, right? So my dad is because of I mean he's a tough guy. I think we call him cockroach lah, right? So try his entire life he tried to do business, fail it's okay, another one, old people money is okay, start another one. So I think the spirit is really wow. I can tell you, right, even until the last moment of his life, right, he's still doing business, right? So I think this is really the spirit that I actually learned from him, right? So I learned the spirit from my father. Okay, I learned to zoom into details, right, from Steve Jobs.
Oh,
Mm.
Yep. So how, in terms of like design details, right? Sometimes, for there's a Chinese saying, right? To determine a success or failure, right? Sometimes the details actually determine the difference. Okay. Then the third person and the last person to say, okay, is Elon Musk. Okay. Not because of all the crypto thingy, the Bitcoin, the dodgy coin. No. I think he's really a visionary guy and really pursue his perseverance when the whole world, right, doesn't agree on what he wanted to do. From Tesla EV to SpaceX, to boring companies, I think to a lot of things lah. And not only he's actually visionary, right? And he really tell the whole world, I believe in what I see and I can make it happen. Sometimes we call it, distorted reality, right? But no, it's not easy. I think Nick can definitely resonate that a lot, because when you try to tell people, hey, I tell you what, I'm going to rent your car for some other people, you don't have to worry, leave everything to me. People say you siao, are you crazy or not, right? So it's never easy, right? And you can
Yeah.
imagine what Elon Musk is actually doing is actually like 100 or 1,000x than what we are doing right now. Yep.
I think the point is, always believe in what you want to do, have faith, and like Nick, for example, he took that leap of faith, and yourself after your downfall, you took that leap of faith and just go with it. And uh, let me be a bit personal with you, Jerry. I feel bad, of putting you in such situation. Let me cheer you up a bit. We are almost to halftime. Liverpool is leading 2-0, yeah, by the way. You happy? Hey,
That's good
Yeah.
news.
right. Zali, by the way, hang tanya depa tadi, siapa, who are the people they are inspired from? How about yourself, bro? Who do you look up on?
Um, I don't have any specific, but I like what China is doing right now. I like the way they are moving. The way they are expanding their invisible border. I mean, it's a known fact that both US and China both wants to dominate Southeast Asia, right? It is a known fact. But the way China is doing it is very subtle and very um, very smart, because what they are doing is that they're pouring investment into all these countries that they need to secure. They need to secure food, for example, for their people. They need so what they do, they prepare the infrastructure. They go into Sri Lanka, they build the ports. Yeah, people say that the ports now is owned by Chinese. Yeah, but that's very understandable. If you are China, you need to protect your borders, you need to expand your influence and all that. And Shenzhen right now, I think, is a place that you cannot ignore, uh, because no matter how advanced of a software you develop, the hardware are all coming from Shenzhen, and there's a lot of um, and there's a lot of opportunities there. Recently, recently they have joined this. I don't know whether you all have heard or not about the Greater Bay Area, G G
GAB.
GAB, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, GBA, Greater Bay Area, consisting about 11 cities with a combined GDP of I don't know how many trillion. So why China? Because China is closer to home. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, a lot of talents. The pool of talents are concentrated right now over there.
Yeah.
It's really, really rivaling Silicon Valley, and I'm paying extra attention to Shenzhen. Yeah.
But you're not being biased simply because your wife is from China, yeah, Zali.
I may be biased on that, but once
Mm.
you be there, you're in it, you feel it. You feel the energy there, I mean, if you really want to go global, definitely China must be in your radar as well.
And I
Yeah.
think that is where Jerry is heading to, modern KOL, right?
Yeah, fantastic, Jerry.
Yeah.
You're heading the right direction. But yeah, there's a lot of things also happening in China right now. The power ration, the semiconductor war, the and now latest is that they're gonna be shortage of aluminium and magnesium.
Mm.
So this is going to affect car production because both these elements are used for the chassis, mainly for making chassis. I mean, recently the car industry was hit by semiconductors. Okay, that is a known fact. Now they say EU are going to have at least the most about 3 weeks of magnesium left,
Wow.
and then after that, yeah, and then after that they're going to run out. And
This
guess
should be a good news for Nick, Zali, because less number of cars, more reason for people to rent their cars. Moovby can go to China. Nick,
you
opportunity.
know,
What you want to
Yeah,
do?
very good. Yeah,
soft landing in Xi'an, China, with the help
yeah,
of Magic and
fantastic,
Testa China, and
fantastic.
uh,
Fantastic. Awesome, bro.
BYD, yeah,
Yeah.
BYD, they are good, they're
yeah,
good.
and we are signing inshallah the partnership with LV Mama. It's one of the biggest OTA company in China.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic. Right.
yeah. So,
Good to know.
So yeah,
okay.
Yes, Zali, you want to say something? Go ahead, go ahead.
uh, what else can I say? Yeah, just um, I mean, but China is a different game altogether. It's not that you have money
Yeah,
and you can go there and things happen.
yeah,
You still need to understand how things work. And I'm fortunate enough that I've been to China for the last 9 years. Every year I've been there, and I didn't go there as a tourist. I go there, of course, to stay with my in-laws for a month or two, and I got the chance to go to really be on the ground, to take the bus, to ride the mobile, ride sharing, to go to take the DD. I mean, you're talking this QR code that we have not even fully embraced it yet in Malaysia. This QR code started, I think, about 5 years ago in China, and the thing about China is that why things move so fast in China is because it's a one-party system. It's a communist party system. When the government decide on something, the whole population embrace it because they got no, I mean, the whole population embrace it. So China is a good testing ground because if you are developing a product in China, you straight away can test it to a 1.4 billion market. Even you might even not the product might just even end up in China itself because you might not be able to cope up with the demand, let alone to export it. So the speed that China has is something that I don't think many other country has.
Well, it's nice to know, and it's definitely one of the destination or end game for entrepreneurs, not only from Malaysia. Entrepreneurs from the region who want to end up in China because of the vast market and availability of potentials. But then again, it's easier said than done. I think Nick is currently trying to access to China through TrueStar, and then Jerry has been doing that for quite some time now. I'm sure it's not as easy as it may sound,
Yes,
right?
that's
You gonna
truly
share with us, some of the challenges that you're facing penetrating China. Even you are a Malaysian Chinese, Jerry, doesn't mean you get a green ticket to China. Am I right? Doesn't really matter.
yeah. Talk us through, Jerry.
Yeah, talk us through, Jerry. Let's start with Jerry. After this, we'll go with Nick.
Wow. There will actually need another clubhouse just for this.
especially on
Okay.
penetrating China.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just summarize into I think maybe 2 to 3 points, right? Okay. First thing first, right, is the culture difference. Okay. I think entrepreneurs still manage to actually cope, with the way how they work. Let me give you an example. There's actually one terms which they call 996, right? So 996 actually literally stand for working from 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. So 9 to 9, and six is actually means Monday to Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, and some companies actually even practice 997 when the big event like 10 10 11 11 or 12 12. And this is actually not only for the founders and management people, it's a company culture. Can you imagine that? Okay. So one of the reason behind is because of their working environment is too competitive. They will tell you, okay, you cannot cope, right? No worry, we have too many people to replace you. When you throw a stone to the street, right? I think out of 10 people, 9 is master, doctor, degree holder. Okay. So first thing, if let's say ask me culture, right? And one of the culture, right, when they talk to you, right, they expect an immediate response. So like during WeChat, right, they keep on asking you, are you there? Are you here? Are you here? What the heck, man? Even after working hours, they'll ask you, are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Then they expect you to immediately respond to them, thanks to technology, lah, right? So I think first thing first is actually definitely the culture. And the worst part is actually different what we call different state or different different state, different places, people tends to actually react differently as well. So I think the culture make a very very important play a very very important part, right? First thing, and secondly, I would say it's actually political environment. So
Okay.
a lot of tech or apps, if I think everyone noticed, right? We can't actually use. We can't use Facebook. We can't use WhatsApp. We can't use, Instagram. We can't use YouTube in China, right? So unless you actually have roaming, if let's say you're using their telco, God bless you. You're literally like disconnected from the rest of the world. Okay, and I think that's one thing that Razali didn't actually mention. Beside all the challenges of electricity whatsoever, right? I think one of the things that they are restricting very very heavily right now is actually what you say, and also they censor a lot of information, and from entertainment to celebrity to KOL, a lot of things, right? I just want to bring in, right? So I think the second one is actually the political environment is actually totally different. So we have culture, culture related to the people, how they react, how they work with people as well, and then political environment. Then I think last but not least, I think the last thing to share is actually market, right? Uh, they have like what, 13B people, right? As compared to Malaysia, we have like what,
Double.
300. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So when we talk to them, when you play too small, they will say, are you kidding me? But in fact, that number to Malaysia is actually making sense, you see. But when you talk to them, right, I think the same things happen to Indonesia or India, right? So I think the numbers, when we talk to them, right, we need to amplify at least a 10x to 100. I'm not too sure, maybe to 1000x. Then it will only make sense for them. So for those companies that actually wanted to work with them, or to expand to that, right, I think these are the few things that you really need to actually do your homework. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. I believe there are more things that you would love to share, but you only have about 10 minutes to go. Nick,
Yeah.
put yourself just starting to set your foot on China. I mean, onto China. How do you find it? Difficult?
Yeah, I think China is a different game altogether, like what Jerry said mentioned. If you have the business running in Indonesia, Indonesia is like 10x harder Malaysia and Singapore combined. And if you go to China, you can amplify by another 3 to 4 times. The
Yeah.
complexity of the province to another province, city to another city, they have different regulations altogether. Um, I have yet to land there, but we are talking to people in China to basically bring us in ASEAN. I would say that the culture, like what Jerry mentioned, they have a very very workaholic culture. In fact, the top managements of the partner that we are talking to, texting us over the weekend at I think around 11 p.m. here. I think which is like not something usual for us. You know, like top managements, they are like big companies talking to us via WeChat. So chasing for some document, for instance. I think the working culture is very different. They are not laid back. They are very competitive. If you bring our culture there, we are going to be perhaps obsolete. We cannot compete anymore. You know, and the rest, I think the regulations, challenges. You know, different. Like I mentioned, different province, different regulations. Um, and what I can see is that we have China has a huge populations, and as a business or founders, we always wanted to expand to as many cities or provinces as we can. But from what I heard, the advice from the local people, just identify your beachhead market. You know, like your, let's say, Beijing or Shanghai or Xi'an. Just conquer that and then spread out your army to another adjacent city. So don't get basically distracted by the shiny object. You know, like oh, there's a Shanghai or there's a Beijing. Just focus on one things, on one city, for instance, and make it successful over there, and you can get the entire Malaysia or the entire Malaysia, Singapore together. Yeah.
Well, it may sound a bit intimidating to go into China now for startups or wannabe or even mid to late stage startups who are in Malaysia. But I mean, you were right to say, Nick. You know, in terms of focusing your market access, let alone China, yeah, let alone China or even Indonesia. I've seen many founders say that you want to go global. What's your target market? Global. When we probe further, no. Okay, then let's look at regional. Okay, regional mana? Where? What are your numbers, statistics? So even before going regional, before having the ambition to go into Indonesia, because it's huge in Indonesia, set your foot strong, your foundation in Malaysia first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is not as easy as you wish it would be. And rightfully, Jerry and uh, Nick tonight have shared, I think, just a little fraction of their personal experience, which again I personally appreciate. It is definitely, easier said than done. And whatever they are seeing you guys today is pretty much not the actual thing that you have gone through, the hardship, the challenges, the tumbling blocks. Of course, there were some, good ones or many good ones. Of course, it has been very profitable. Things were shiny, rainbow all over. Else, you will not be talking to me today. You'll be doing your 9 to 5 work. Maybe perhaps you will still be a med practitioner. Was it a practitioner? Med practitioner, Jerry? Medical practitioner. Yeah. And Nick maybe still one of the programmer in Grab. I don't know. But, taking that faith of leap really matters. But of course, with mitigated risk. Even for Nick, without having any experience of starting your own venture,
Yeah.
suddenly pop, you jump into the bandwagon of starting your own company. But you were lucky enough to have started with my taxi, so at least
Yeah.
you were privy of how it's being done. While Jerry a bit emotional because it's based on your personal experience. Because what you started off earlier, your mother was sick, right? And why you were into medical, but you saw opportunity in terms of uh adopting digital, the digital adoption for the medical technology, right? In medicine. Hence why your two startups that you started before Modern KOL, which was pretty much medtech, medical technology related.
Yes.
Then you carry on with your FNB, yada, and now doing Modern KOL. All right. Do we have questions from the Clubhouse audience, or everybody was still emotional with the event we had earlier? Now I'm a bit emotional, Jerry. Halftime 2-1, Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. Tapi tak apa. We still have half time to go. Never mind. I'll
Hey,
give you a couple of minutes, perhaps before we end. Nick, you want to upsell Moovby? Just a few liner, because since
Uh,
we did the chat,
yeah.
will be displayed. Few people will We don't know who will pick this up, this live stream. Go ahead, man. One or two line from you about Moovby.
Yeah, sure. Um, Moovby is the like everyone know, like we are the peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace or the Airbnb for cars. We are solving the big pain problems of the car ownership of Southeast Asia, hopefully to the world later. There's 100 million cars in Southeast Asia that's sitting idle 22 hours each day, and in Malaysia alone, we are looking at 36% of the bankruptcy cases are coming from the higher end purchase vehicle. So these are the pain problems of this car ownership that people don't know, or people buat-buat tak tahulah kan. Tapi in reality there's so many people are needing of extra income to basically pay for their car. And what Moovby is doing, we are connecting the modern travelers and people who own cars, and for travelers who are looking to book a car for the trip, they can drive great cars. The price is about 30% lower than alternative. You can pretty much rent anything under the sun on Moovby. We have the presence in Malaysia and Indonesia. We are looking to strengthening our footprint in these two countries, but also exploring some market in China and in Vietnam right now. We are looking for basically more peoples on our platform, strengthening our core team and raising capital. We are talking to some VCs in Singapore and Indonesia to fund our next round. And yeah, that's pretty much in
And
short.
Malaysia.
Sorry?
You were talking to some VCs from
And
Indonesia
Malaysia, and
and
Malaysia,
Malaysia.
Malaysia, of course, of course. Yeah, and in fact, we are talking to one conglomerate or two conglomerate who are looking to take the whole chunks of these next round investments that can give a very strategic move for us, but still in a negotiation part. But yeah, that's all about Moovby in short. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have any intention to extend from a car to rental of bikes?
Yeah, in Vietnam, we are going to inshallah start with the bike first. Perhaps start in Ho Chi Minh and then moving outward to Hanoi. Yeah, so bike maybe soon. We got some inquiry from Langkawi and Sabah. Those who own the yacht, the yacht is sitting idle most of the time. They are looking to put on our platform to be ran by travelers. So I think it can be anything. That's why we are changing from
Inshallah.
Wheelsby to Moovby.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. All right. Good upsell.
Fantastic.
Jerry, over to you. Modern KOL.
Right. Okay, so I think our side is very simple, right? Okay. I always say that the best QL is actually the bosses themselves or the top management, because no one actually know better than what they do, right? So if let's say for you guys wanted to how to express better in terms of like what you do, look for us, right? We train you to become your dormant expertise, your subject matter expertise, right? Representing your companies, representing your knowledge, your experiences, so and so forth, right? So I think for this part, I think our biggest breakthrough now is actually we are the only private academics that's actually working with colleges and also university. So we actually managed to offer, a Segi College certificate for those that actually attended our 2-day courses, right? So this can actually offer to your employees, even you just finish your form 5 or whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Come to Modern QL, then we can actually offer you a SEGI endorsed certifications for the QL. Then of course I think send your team over, right? We train them to pick up copywriting, personal branding, video shooting, editing, and also to live streaming, right? To express, to be your strongest advocate ever, right? This is for the education side. Okay, for those are brands or online seller, right? If let's say you are struggling, to make extra, to make more sales, engage us, right? So we have more than 2,500. No, in fact, the KOLs that we have managed to reach out and working with is actually more than 12,000. right? So we have established, a sales channel, online, offline. Our hub is actually situated right inside a shopping mall, right? So we have an established online sales channel from our own web store, Shopee, Lazada, Facebook, live streaming, so on and so forth. We are now in Malaysia. Um, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, and we are expanding to Thailand and Philippines next year. So we encourage our cross-border selling as well, right? And in fact, I think last quarter of this year, right, I think we're going to start our own warehouse, right? So if let's say for those online sellers and brands, right, yeah, you don't have to worry about warehousing, fulfillment, right? Throw everything to us. We have places for you. We have people to help you sell. All you need to do is actually back, relax, and count money. In short,
Thank you. So it's a inshallah in future, one-stop solution for KOL. But I
yep.
have to be honest with you, bro. I have to be very honest with you. The first time I saw your company's name, even before GMP, Modern KOL, my first interpretation was like, is it modern koi? It's like, okay, what are they doing? Are they doing a modern koi pond? Is it anything to do with fish ke apa ni, KOL? Then I found out the actual things that you guys are doing. It's actually KOL, not KOI. Key opinion leaders, right? Or influencers for that matter. Of course, you have highlighted earlier, it's two different things. An influencer is something else, but key opinion leaders are subject matter expert in their own realms. All right. Then again, also, I believe Jerry Hung, you have set a very high benchmark for Pixelplay Ventures Clubhouse session this week. We have
Hard,
never
hard to
gotten
beat.
anybody being so emotional in our session lah, bro. You have set the benchmark for next week's session. I don't know siapa jadi next week the two startups. We are requesting them to share their journey, but this guy went overboard and really share his actual
Oh,
journey.
he nailed it. He
Yeah,
nailed it tonight.
I'm not ashamed to say that I cried as well. But again, of course, you need a backbone. You need support behind you if you were to jump into the startup bandwagon. It's not easy. It's full of challenges. It's just like the VC in the VC world. It's high investment, high risk, but high return.
Yeah.
We are due time. Thank you so much for those who are listening and still in Clubhouse. We have our friends here from even before pre 9 p.m. tadi dah masuk dah, and the rest. I hope the sharing of interesting journey in their startup journey by Jerry and Nick tonight have somehow inspired you, hopefully inspire you to go into the startup ecosystem and start something new, or start your own venture and not intimidate you in any case whatsoever. uh Feel free to share with the fellow friends on our session, Clubhouse session. It happens every week. We will have, I don't remember who, but we will have another two startup from the GMP USA cohort 1 to share their experience with us. And for information, this Clubhouse session is streamed live on Pixelplay Ventures YouTube channel as well. Spread it to your friends. In case you need to recap on what was discussed, what was shared, go ahead, subscribe to PPV channel. You can view the video at any point. Okay. Thank you so much, Nick, again. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. And really appreciate the honesty of both of you sharing a little bit of your personal experience in your startup endeavor. We wish you but the very best, inshallah. Again, this is not parting wishes. Classes resume on Monday. You guys have a good weekend. Zali, thank you for your time. Those friends in Clubhouse, I see a couple of GMP cohort 1. Sky, Jasrina, Benny, Young is still here. Ari is here, and the rest. Thank you for staying. And those watching in YouTube, thank you so much for listening and watching us. Alamak, tengok balik malu lah. Nangis tadi kan. Macam boleh. Can we edit the video before publishing tak? I don't think we can because it's streamed live.
No, we should not. We should not. We should let it be. He has set a new benchmark.
And those friends who are in Clubhouse, GMP cohort 1, you know that Jerry is the most jovial in class. He is the most jovial person, but tonight he cracked. Something interesting. But again, Jerry, I mean, with all due respect, nothing to be ashamed of. You were on point. Both of you, Nick and Jerry, and it's nothing but all positive points that I've taken personally tonight. Hopefully, the rest of our Clubhouse audience as well as the YouTube audience will benefit from our support. Then again, have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you,
Thank
Zali.
you, Jerry and Nick. Wishing you all the
Bye.
best. Yeah.
See you again
Thank you so
Wednesday.
much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good night. Bye bye.
Nice.
You need to leave, Jerry. You okay, bro?
Okay, bro.
Okay. Jerry, you okay, bro?
So done?
Done. We are done. Thank you so much, bro. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.